All right, everyone, come on in. Take your seats, quiet down. Welcome to Film School Dropouts. My name is James, and I am
Down
here.
in front.
Oh,
Brent.
if you could.
This is Brent.
All right. Well, you really rained. I was going to do a Batman voice. I'll do that later, I guess. I don't know. That's all right.
I knew it's coming. I know it's coming.
Yeah, it's going to have to be coming because we're talking about Batman Begins.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is a podcast about directors that we either love or want to know more about, and that's the film school that we're interested in. So that's the syllabus that we're putting forth, and we're on Nolan right now. We're doing Christopher Nolan.
Movie 3.
Movie 4.
Is it 4 already?
Yeah, we did Following Memento. And the
you know what? I always forget Memento.
It's there. It's just there. you know, it's funny that you forget Memento. You know, that's a good bit. It's good because it's So, God, we're on a monumental movie for me. We're talking about Batman Begins. We're going to get into it, and we're going to get into a lot more than just it, I think. Before we do, why don't you tell me, aside from obviously this wonderful film, what have you seen anything good this week?
This week, yes. Well, as you know, I didn't want to really get into this on the show, but I was dealing with a bit of a breakup, so I wanted something feel good.
Okay.
But I wanted something also newer. And for me, it's not newer, but it's new-ish, we'll say.
Sure. Okay.
The Pitch Perfect franchise, but especially the first one.
Oh, interesting. I've never seen any of the Pitch Perfect movies.
They're good.
Yeah,
well,
I know.
Okay. It's like
a little bit of a decline.
Yeah,
I mean that's pretty typical for most franchises.
Third one, it's a pass for sure. But
okay, there's only 3.
Spoiler alert! Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I have never seen them. I've heard the first one's like a really good time though.
Yeah, first one's really good.
Good.
It makes me smile throughout.
That's Anna Kendrick, right?
It's Anna Kendrick.
I gotta say, she can do nothing, and it just makes me smile.
She just has that little thing to her, you know.
She's adorable and fun, and I think she's great. You know,
she's like this big.
I know. She's like, what is she, 3'8"? Yeah, she's great. I mean, how can you not love her?
Yeah.
A couple of months ago, I watched all of the Twilight movies for the first time, and she's in those, and she's actually fucking really fun in those movies. Listen, I know. Listen. It was an exercise in masochism. It was fine. It was whatever. I had to watch them. It had my boyfriend Bob in them, so I had to watch them. But she's great in those. Yeah, I like Anna Kendrick a lot.
Yeah, bubbly.
Yeah.
You'll find yourself smiling and bobbing your head along with the songs.
Can you explain to me what those movies are? Are they just like girl band movies?
No, there's no instrument. They do all the sound. Like
it's like a cappella band.
Acapella.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and they're all really great. And there's like a little tournament. The climax is like a little tournament.
Of course, yeah.
But I believe it might have been directed by Elizabeth Banks as her first.
Oh, right. You might be right. Yes.
Yeah. That's her baby, that franchise. And she does a good job with it. Okay. She's in it also.
I love Elizabeth Banks. So
yeah.
That's cool. I know she just recently directed the Charlie's Angels reboot that like nobody saw, but hey, you can't win them every time, can you?
Yeah. I didn't rush out to see that one. So.
Oh, no, me either. All right, well, I'm bringing a movie that just came out yesterday, talking about Nomadland. So Nomadland is this big Oscars contender. I honestly think it's going to win Best Picture. It's directed and written by Chloe Zhao, who recently directed a movie that I didn't care for, that a lot of people did, called The Rider. And now she's working on Marvel's Eternals.
Ooh.
Yeah, I hope one day you watch The Rider, and I really hope you watch Nomadland, because it will baffle you that Marvel sought her out, because her movies are so anti-MCU. It's like these beautiful landscape shots with all natural lighting and like everything's soft and it's great.
That's the MCU, I'm telling you.
Oh yeah, okay.
Hey, come on. They know how to scout them.
I know they do. It's just so weird. I wouldn't have thought that they would ever win with someone like her, but her most recent movie before this was this movie about a rodeo guy, and he goes through an injury. It's very like small, kind of melodramatic movie. A lot of people loved it. I just didn't connect with it. So when all the reviews for Nomadland started coming out and everyone was saying, oh my God, this is the best movie of the year, I was kind of like, all right, yeah, we'll see. I didn't really care for her last movie, but we'll see. The thing about this movie is she has Frances McDormand in the lead role.
Sold.
Whereas the writer, she didn't have any actors. She used all that's one of her little key signature things that she does is she will use real people. She doesn't get actors. Like the story about the character from the writer was portrayed by the actual guy or whatever. It's really interesting, but it works in some scenes, but whatever. The Nomadland is this beautiful American folktale story about a woman whose town essentially becomes a ghost town because their factory shuts down, and she just gets a van and she just travels the country living out of her van. It's fucking beautiful. I don't really know how to get into it too much without just dedicating a whole episode to it, so I won't. But I could see this movie easily winning Best Picture. It's on Hulu right now. You can go watch it. It's fucking great. So that's the movie I'm bringing is Nomadland. I think everyone.
Nomadland.
Yeah,
I'll have to check it out. I got Hulu, so
yeah, I
give it a whirl.
I know how you are with the Oscars too. We're both kind of die hard. We got to watch them all.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you already got a pretty good jump on this year's before the noms aren't even out yet.
Yeah, we got like a week and a half before the nominations, and
what even came out this year?
Exactly, it's a blur. So I don't know, but Nomadland was great, and everyone should watch it.
All right, sounds good.
Well, fuck it. We got a lot on our plate right now, man.
Here we go.
So we're just gonna have to jump off this skyscraper, send an electric current through our sweet neuro fabric, and just glide.
Tell us, Mr. Wayne. What do you fear?
How do you know my name?
The world is too small for someone like Bruce Wayne to disappear. Your parents' death was not your fault.
My parents deserve justice.
I cannot let that pass. If you make yourself more than just a man, then you become something else entirely.
Which is?
A legend, Mr. Wayne.
Okay. Do you remember when this movie came out?
2005.
Okay.
Do I remember when it came out?
What were you doing during that time?
This is very important that we back up and say, okay, square one. So in 2005, I was 13 years old. I don't know if I saw this in theaters or not. I also have a horrific memory, so I very well could have. But I think this movie really popped for me after The Dark Knight. I think that's when I really went back and kind of dove into this movie. But you might have a better memory of this movie's.
Well, I graduated high school in 2005.
Okay.
So that was needless to say in my party days.
Sure.
I guess most people party in college.
Oh, you got a little bit of a jump start. Okay. Did you see this in theaters?
I didn't. But I remember here when it came out, everyone was talking about it. And actually, there's a video game I think released coincide
I never played that.
It was amazing.
Really, it was good.
It was absolutely amazing, and it actually fit so well with the movie because, as you know, this movie is based around. I feel like Nolan, he fully figured out what made Batman.
So I guess we should pump the brakes a little bit. We should maybe even go before this movie comes out. The Batman property as a film property is dead because of Joel Schumacher and Batman and Robin.
I'd even go farther than say superheroes are almost dead.
Because
isn't that the Chris Evans Fantastic Four?
No, that was a couple years. I think I was 07. I think.
Let's double check.
Maybe that was the second one. Yeah, if you want to pull that up. But yeah. I mean, Batman for sure was dead. But the X-Men movie had come out a couple years before. Spider-Man was popping off. Spider-Man 3 hadn't happened yet.
So the Fantastic Four I'm thinking of did come out in 2005.
Okay, so that year.
But Spider-Man really did bring it back. And I want to say it was 2001.
It was 2001 or 2002. I just remembered because they had to remove the entire Twin Towers sequence. So...
I'm thinking that's my freshman year in high school.
Okay. So, I mean, the superhero genre as a film, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, was in a state of flux and wasn't the most important money-making machine on the planet.
Yeah, I think X-Men 2 was good, but X-Men 3 wasn't out yet.
No, right. Yeah, so there was this whole thing where, I mean, just to focus on Batman alone,
yeah,
Batman and Robin just kind of buries him as a character.
Brutal. Batman was dead for sure.
Batman was just donezo. So I guess the story is Nolan was, he came out with Insomnia. It was solid, but nothing groundbreaking. Did exactly what it was supposed to do. A little adult thriller. And he goes to Warner Bros. And I think he's kind of looking for his next project. And they say, hey, here's all the properties that we kind of have up, in limbo. And he takes a look at all of them. And he says, what's going on with Batman? And they're like, oh, I don't know. So I think he is the one who goes after Batman.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
I don't think that they were actively. I know that Darren Aronofsky was at one point maybe going to make a Batman Year One movie. I don't really know what happened with that, but Nolan kind of approaches them and says, hey, let me do this. And it's kind of fascinating what happens.
Well, I know, like we were talking, like Marvel will go out and they'll be like, oh, they have a list of these sexy up and coming directors and be like, oh, that they're talented. Let's scalp them for our project.
Sure,
let's bring them aboard.
Right, but
you're saying that was the kind of the opposite with Nolan
and that
here.
I mean, the MCU machine had not been born yet.
No.
Marvel had sold all of their film rights to all these different companies, like. X-Men was at Fox until very recently. Spider-Man was at Sony and still kind of is, but they had sold like the Hulk to Universal, and
they were done. They filed for bankruptcy.
Marvel as a company, right? Yeah. Exactly. So the MCU doesn't really happen until they make a deal with I can't remember what company it was, but they make this crazy deal where essentially if Iron Man had bombed, Marvel Studios just wouldn't exist.
Yeah.
Marvel Comics might not even be existing in the same way that we know them now. But thankfully that movie does great and kicks off this huge franchise that has never been seen before. But what I'm getting to is what you're talking about Marvel, scouting all these directors. That wasn't happening because Marvel Studios didn't exist. Batman as a film property didn't exist anymore.
No,
it wasn't. It was
comic book movies were just bad. Like Daredevil, there's so many. There's so many superhero movies that didn't work or weren't really. Besides, a couple of the first two
X-Men and you got Spider-Man who are doing pretty well. And for all their flaws, and they're really great properties as well. But like. Yeah, I mean, you have Daredevil, which spawns Elektra, which is like you have Ang Lee's Hulk, which no one liked, but I think that movie's actually really good. If you go back,
I like it. I've
great.
always liked that movie.
We should probably talk about Ang Lee at some point because
I'm I just like the Hulk too.
Yeah.
But first thing I want to know is just before even the movies aside, where's Batman rank on your superhero list?
He's number one. I don't like.
And he's two here. So
here's the thing: you and I, we're gonna go off on a comic book tangent on this episode.
Yeah,
it's inevitable. If anyone here doesn't want to hear us talk about comics, I'm really sorry, but it's all very important.
We'll get to Nolan. We'll get to the movie.
We really will. We will. But it's important to talk about is when we're talking about Batman Begins, about our lifelong obsession with this
perspective.
Medium. Yeah, I mean, Batman for me, I was one of those things where I was 4 years old going to Halloween as Robin. I had Batman sheets. I had Batman, underwear. It was Batman the animated series started, I think, the year I was born. So it was, by the time I was 3, my whole world was just Batman and the Spider-Man animated series. Those two are just like, come on.
Yeah.
But for me, Batman is maybe not my favorite superhero, maybe not my favorite comic book to read, but he's the one that kind of, he started it all for me. He's the one who introduced me to that whole world. So I can't.
He's got to be. He's the coolest, right?
He's pretty fucking cool. Yeah.
He's the only superhero that his power, and they talk about it in here, is fear. He makes enemy. He's the only one that makes villains afraid.
I will argue that probably my close second favorite superhero is Daredevil, who has very similar attributes and does the similar things. But yes, that's the thing is Batman's, God, we're going to have to talk about so much stuff, but he's a darker character, dealing with a little bit more serious content in his books and in his movies and stuff. Aside from the Schumacher movies, but whatever. So you said he's your number 2 superhero.
Oh,
who's number 1?
Come on. Hope personified.
Superman?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank God. Listen, folks, if you are anti-Superman, you're anti-America. So go fuck yourself.
In Spider-Man's 3, but
yeah, no, I mean, there's some really important. Yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah. I have a full Batman tattoo sleeve. I have a full Spider-Man leg sleeve. I fucking love these guys so much. Okay, so Batman Begins.
So let's start with this Batman. How about this Bruce Wayne and this Batman? How do you think Christian Bale did?
Okay, so again, we gotta lay some groundwork.
I know, because you want to go to Keaton, you want to go to Adam West, you want.
I don't ever want to go to Adam West, but yes, before.
Oh, I just. Out of respect, you know.
Sure, I guess. Famously, Tim Burton's Batman comes out in 1989 and like literally changes how blockbusters are made. It's the biggest fucking movie in the world. Michael Keaton in that movie and in Batman Returns, I think he's great. I think he's a great Bruce Wayne. I think there's some times it's a little campy, but that's what those movies are about, you know? Like, you're going to watch an 80s Burton movie, it's going to be kind of campy and silly and whatever. I think this is out of the 3 Nolan movies, I think this movie has the best Bruce Wayne material. Okay. And I think this is the only movie in which Bale's voice actually works. But aside from that, like, this movie's fucking like perfect for me. You're
talking about the grizzly Batman voice.
Yeah, I think as the movies progress, he kind of loses track of what worked about that voice.
Okay.
Because he only does it like 2 times in this movie. And when he does it, it counts. But yeah, I don't know who. God, I couldn't tell you who my favorite like on-screen Batman is. You know, I couldn't do it.
Well, so here's the thing: like with the Burton Batman, you know, it's you're not jumping through the years like you are here.
No, so it's all contained. Yeah,
Bale has to do double duty. He's playing like early 20s.
That's very true.
He's jumping. I think it's his 30th birthday.
Yeah, it was his 30th birthday. I would say he's probably portraying a full decade of a character, whereas Keaton essentially is just dealing with a couple nights.
Right, and I think that speaks volumes to how Nolan is able to make this sprawling, this years.
So, okay, we all know that The Dark Knight is the 2008 changes comic book movies and movies in general. Because you have The Dark Knight and Iron Man, which both just completely changed the entire, you know.
I believe The Incredible Hulk was also.
Well, that doesn't do anything for anyone.
You know, that was 09.
That doesn't do anything for anyone.
Did something for Edward Norton.
Yeah, lost him his job. No, but The Dark Knight is obviously this big, you know, phenomenon, and it changes, you know, the dark and gritty, grounded, whatever, blah, blah, blah. But that all starts here. And, you know, this movie didn't make like an insane amount of money. It didn't bomb, but it wasn't like this sensation the way that The Dark Knight and following superhero movies would become. But all of the serious takes on these characters really starts with this movie.
Well, I think that's because look at every other superhero movie. First off, all the other superheroes, they usually, especially in their origin story, have some sort of device or some little chunk of time that is devoted to them getting their powers, and then that's it.
Yeah.
Here it's a large chunk of Bruce ordering extra parts.
Yeah, you don't see Batman for a long time.
No, and there's the whole setup of him actually going through the logistics of getting the equipment, assembling it, coming up with the gimmick like that. I feel like, and you have to do that with Batman because of the lack of powers.
Yep.
And that's why I think Nolan puts so much of the time and emphasis, especially on the first part of the movie, on the power of fear and fear itself.
This whole movie is about fear. Yeah. It's about Bruce fearing, the bats. It's about the people of Gotham fearing Falcone. It's about, the Scarecrow
fearing him.
Exactly. The entire movie, from the beginning to the end, every inch of it is about fear, which is really a smart move on Nolan's part, because that is essentially Batman's superpower.
It is Batman, yes.
If we're watching, I think I keep coming back to X-Men and Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man and Bryan Singer X-Men, because those were sort of the only two successful. Blueprints. Yeah, but those were the two successful ones before this.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even call this one like a huge success. I would just say that like it worked. I mean, creatively, it's a fucking masterpiece. I think it's so important to me, but like, it's a milestone. Yeah. But those movies are fun and entertaining, and it's about, oh, look at Hugh Jackman, he's so gruff and like he's got the cool, whatever, the gang's getting together. And Spider-Man is like this big, like it looks like a fucking MGM musical movie. It's beautiful. It's the swinging camera, the costumes, like it's all bright and fun. This movie, it is so departing from all of that, and it really does feel like Nolan just sat down and was like, all right, yes, I'm making a superhero movie, but first and foremost, I'm making a movie. And let me just write this movie like an adult film that's just fun and like engaging and dark. And like it's not concerned with pop or, big explosive set pieces or anything like that. It's just concerned with being a good movie first and foremost.
Even though it's PG-13, it still feels like it's an adult movie. Mm-hmm. And I think that was the refreshing take on it, because
it really was.
Because I mean, like we talked about Spider-Man. I mean, it's a fact that Spider-Man is not geared towards kids, but Spider-Man toys sell more than Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman combined.
Well, Peter Parker's a kid, and that's the whole thing.
Right.
The kids can really,
Well, because who doesn't want those powers,
I mean, yeah, Spider-Man's the fucking best. I love Spider-Man. Absolutely. But yeah, this movie, I mean, do you want to just kind of walk through the plot of this movie and kind of go off on tangents? Because that's sort of the way that I'm thinking of this, because I could tell you everything that happens in like the Spider-Man movie. It's a good origin story. He fights the Green Goblin. He falls in love with Mary Jane. Everyone, it's happy. This movie is dealing with so much more, like, I don't want to use the word nuance because it's not like super nuanced. It's still a big fun blockbuster. But it's, you could show this to someone who's never seen or cared about a comic book, and they would just be like, oh, that's a pretty cool, like, action movie.
It's surprisingly stuffed to the brim with content. It
is.
You got three villains. The whole first
there's three villains. Absolutely.
Falcone.
Can I just really quickly?
Has.
This is also, I think, the beginning of any Nolan poster you see after this movie, the credit block above the title, how it's just stacked. And this is the movie that starts it off. Christian Bale, Liam Neeson, Cillian Murphy, Michael Caine, Morgan Freeman, Tom Wilkinson, Ken Watanabe, Gary Oldman, Katie Holmes, Rutger Hauer. Like, he's just fucking pulling from all over the place. And it's this huge, and all of them have big roles. Everyone I just named has a pretty big role, except for maybe Watanabe, who's, essentially a red herring.
So you got to think these actors at this time are seeing this hot up and coming. They already are attracted to the license and Warner Brothers money.
Absolutely.
Regardless, it's Batman.
Yep.
But they're also seeing, he just worked with Pacino and William, so he's
made Memento.
He's bringing the boys to the yard.
He really is. And like, I mean, a lot of these people end up working with him more and more. Caine is obviously like his muse in a really weird way. I just, it's so strange that
take it down. We like.
It's just very strange when like, I don't know. You think of name a big director right now, like Ryan Coogler has Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
Scorsese
and Leo,
or De Niro. And it's so funny that Christopher Nolan's like one guy who pops up in every movie is this old Scottish. I love him. And he is so good in this movie. We'll get to him.
Have you seen some of his older stuff?
I've seen plenty of Caines. Absolutely. Yeah. It's just funny that like at this point in his career, he just latches onto Michael Caine. For everything, he's in most of his movies after this.
Love Michael Caine.
How do you not love him? I always think about how he says strawberries in Children of Men.
Why do we fall? It's the wine.
You know what I'm talking about in Children of Men, though? And he's got the weed. And he's like,
pull my finger.
Tastes like strawberries. Oh. Oh God, he's so good in that.
Pull my finger.
What a fucking champ. Okay, so let's just run through the plot of this movie, and it'll give us plenty to fucking talk about with Batman.
So let me just freeze it right there. Michael Caine he's not your Alfred.
I mean, I don't know that they've done an Alfred that's like been my ideal Alfred. I really like Michael Caine in his movies.
I feel like he's the
closest. I mean, Michael Goff in the first two, or the first, he's the
because I was gonna say Batman the animated series is my Alfred. Just
that's the thing is like
Mark Hamill's my Joker.
Everything comes back to the animated series for me. Anytime someone wants to talk about superhero stuff or like, oh, what's your favorite Batman movie? It's fucking. It doesn't matter. It's all the animated series.
So with that being said, then the Alfred has to be Michael Goff from
not
the Tim
necessarily.
Burton ones, because
he's close. Yeah, he's good. He's really good in those movies, especially the first two. I think Michael Caine is so good in these, but I think he's incredible in this first movie, and then like as the movies go on, he sort of has less and less to do, and it just sort of blends into the background. And I think Jeremy
it's
Irons.
Alfred, yeah.
I know, but I think Jeremy Irons in the Snyder movies, when they announced Jeremy Irons, I was like, absolutely, obviously, that's such a good pick. And then he doesn't do anything. I'm like, God damn it, like they just wasted him.
I thought it went too much. He's flying the Batmobile in combat.
Yeah, exactly.
That's not my Alfred. I want him carrying a tray of soup.
I like when he gets his hands a little dirty, but yeah, when he's like fucking suiting up, it's like all right.
Gotham, the TV show, he's getting his own. He's fighting.
Doesn't he have his own TV show now? Like Pennyworth?
Something, I don't know.
Kill me.
He's like a soldier. I don't know.
I'm fully uninterested in that. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is when people ask me like, oh, like you just said, who's your favorite Batman? Well, it's Kevin Conroy. Like, it's Mark Hamill. It's that whole show. But if I had to go live action, this Michael Caine one in this movie at least is he's so good. He's so funny. He's so like heartfelt. Oh man.
See, if we're talking cool as a cucumber Bruce Wayne, then I'm going Keaton right there.
Absolutely. Yes. Keaton in that scene where he's, oh God, what is I don't know the guy's name, but it's Kim Basinger and that one guy are looking at all the masks. And then Bruce just kind of shows up and is just like talking him up. Like that's great. That's great stuff. But I think the scene in this movie where he takes those two supermodels to the hotel and like gets in the swimming pool with them. He's like,
Bruce.
That's good Bruce Wayne shit.
Yeah, that's pretty Bruce.
And the thing I like about him in this movie,
he just doesn't care. And I'm buying this place.
He's selling it so much that like we as the audience are like, holy shit, he's like really fucking doing this. The Keaton stuff feels a little bit more natural where you're like, no, I actually feel like he's acting that way. Whereas in this movie, you could tell he's fucking faking it. And I like that a lot in this movie.
Yeah, like he was actually wearing the mask that Rachel saw.
Right, exactly. Which is like her final.
That was incredible because you see it when she calls him out. It just falls right off.
Yep.
That just, you know how I feel about Bale. He's tier one.
Do you want to talk about Christian Bale a little bit?
He's tier one. He's
one of your faves.
He's just one of the. It's not fave. That's a different list, baby.
Okay, sure.
Tier one. is the best. It's top Leo tier. Phoenix, yeah. Bale.
Okay.
Those are the three best working right now.
I mean, I do love Christian Bale. I just can't deny it, like
name a bad role.
Vice. But, yeah, sure. I do love Christian Bale. Let's try and go through the plot of this thing, which starts off this movie utilizes Nolan's signature jumping back and forth in timelines kind of thing. I think this is like the neatest he's done it so far, like up until this point in his career.
I also want to say, like, because it's Batman, you're thrown right in the mix. You see a little boy fall through. You see some bats.
It's so iconic.
He's already fighting.
It's so iconic. The way that this movie starts with him, young Bruce and young Rachel, who is a made-up character played by Katie Holmes, which is fine. He falls through the well, and like the way that Nolan shoots it, it feels like this like cathedral of comic book history. Like he's shooting it so reverently, the way the fucking bats are just like swarming everywhere, and that angle shot of the you're looking straight up at the hole through the well. It's so good, and you just immediately get like, okay, like we're diving right into Batman.
That's
stuff.
it. Yeah,
what's the next scene is him in like a fucking Malaysian prison with these guys, and he's this is closest to the current timeline that you get, right before he comes back.
Yeah. So I would say somewhere around, he's 29.
Sure. Yeah. This scene where he beats the shit out of all these prisoners is so good and like seared into my memory. I've seen this scene so many times.
I've played it a couple times.
Oh, it's so good that you're in hell, little man, and I'm the devil. And he says, you're just practice. And he just beats the shit out of these guys. It's so good. I will say, probably my one and only ding against this movie, which is a ding I have against almost every Nolan movie. He's not very good at hand-to-hand combat shooting. He could shoot the hell out of a big action set piece. He could shoot the hell out of a car chase, which we see later in the movie. But when it comes to like two people fighting, he kind of goes the Bourne Identity route and just sort of shaky cam, fast edits. You don't really see what's going on. It's not super clean. I think probably the best fight scene in the whole trilogy is him and Bane, right? Like,
I mean, that's I had a total nerdgasm.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'm not ready.
Yeah, we'll get there. Bring your towel when we do that episode. Yeah. But yeah, this whole fight scene in the beginning's, a little choppy, but you get the entire idea that this guy has been put in prison of his own volition so that he can train and fight criminals, and this is the way he knows how.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely, I don't know if you've ever watched Cinema Sins on YouTube.
Yeah.
But they
These fucking assholes.
Yeah, I know. I tried to tune them out because I'll start hearing the voice, and
oh god.
But one of the things that they always would point out in Nolan fight scenes, be like, this guy's falling for no reason. This guy, just little things like that.
I mean, yeah, I guess
it's nitpicking because as long as it's edited correctly, I didn't notice it.
No, not at all. Yeah,
I'd have to watch it in like 1/10 speed to
right, which you're not going to do because you're not a robot like those people are.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad action. I don't want to say it's just not very clean when he has to do the physical fight scenes. Yeah, he kind of relies on the edits and the quick shaky movements of the camera and stuff to sell the momentum of the scene.
And you know what? It works.
Yeah, I think it works, and I think this scene's great where he fights those 6 guys, and I love
protection.
Oh god!
What?
Yeah. I don't need protection from you. And there's the camera turns around. You see all these dudes just fucking groaning in the mud.
Yeah.
And then enter Liam Neeson.
What's his name his fake name that he goes by? Spoiler alert.
Ducard. Henry Ducard. Liam Neeson. I don't know what Nolan awakened in Liam Neeson, but Liam Neeson up to this point was not an action star.
Yeah, that's right. He did kind of go on a little tear after this.
I would say he's still tearing. But he was in Schindler's List. I believe he did a production of Les Mis. He was just kind of, he did like Love Actually. He was in like dramas mostly. He was this kind of renowned serious actor.
I think a little bit before this was The Haunting with Catherine Zeta-Jones.
You might be right. Yeah.
So he was he definitely wasn't like pegged for action.
And he's great in this movie. And I still don't think even after this movie, people would have expected the 10-year action movie star run that he's been on. But, this movie comes out in 2005. Taken comes out in 2008. And then I think The Gray and Unknown come out in 2011. And from 2011 on, it's just every year he's got 2 or 3. Liam Neeson has a gun and he's after someone and there's a betrayal. Like
there's one where he's on a plane or a train.
Yeah, nonstop. Yeah,
there you go.
The Commuter. Yeah, I can name all these. I haven't seen any of them, but I know all the names. But yeah, it's so weird because he was this kind of not prolific.
Wasn't there 3 Takens as well?
There were 3 Takens. Yeah,
Jesus.
He's got to get his family locked down. Every other summer, this guy's losing one of his family members. He's got to go kill 75 Bulgarian terrorists. What's going on? Anyways,
at one point he should just take him out himself.
He's got to be a bit more proactive and just kidnap his own daughter. But so in this movie, he pops.
Where are you?
I'm gonna kill you myself. But in this movie, he plays a leader of a terrorist organization known as the League of Shadows, and he is playing essentially a decoy, or Ken Watanabe actually is playing the decoy, and he is Ra's al Ghul, one of my favorite comic book villains of all time, an absolute fucking king. I love him so much.
Another thing Nolan nailed, I feel like Batman's like, isn't it one of his first, if not truest, like, or oldest? There's a deep connection that went like back in the day.
Yeah, I don't think I'd have to look all this shit up, but Ra's al Ghul really popped in the 70s with the Dennis O'Neil kind of run on Batman, I think, with Neil Adams doing the art. But Ra's al Ghul in the comics is an immortal global terrorist whose entire goal is to like destroy most of the population of the world so he can just start the world over again because he thinks everything has gone to shit. And guess what, folks? He's right. He should do it. But in this movie, he's not an immortal, and he's sort of just they kind of have the same goal. Don't
sponsor terrorism, folks.
No, I mean,
just ignore that.
No, it was a joke. It was a bit.
No.
I'll put in a little so that everyone knows when I'm joking. I'll do like a rubber chicken honk, something like that.
Oh, do we have access to that?
Yeah, I can do stuff like that. Sure.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, no problem.
I would like a a tornado siren every time we
what?
make a fart joke.
Okay, so I guess we'll have to start. Oh my god! So are we gonna have to start making fart jokes then?
I assume won't we get to Dumb and Dumber eventually?
Yeah, we will. Oh god, I would. If we ever do the Fairley Brothers, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. I'm going to have to take a shower every session. Anyways, so Ra's al Ghul shows up and essentially offers him a purpose and says, hey, you're fighting these guys in prison. I can give you a little bit more purpose and guide you in the right direction. And he enters the League of, they're called the League of Shadows in this movie. I always get confused because in the comics, they're called the League of Assassins, which is like way more on the nose. But this movie, they're called the League of Shadows, and their entire goal is to destroy Gotham because it is so corrupt. And that's when we start to get flashes of my boy Tom Wilkinson as fucking Falcone.
Carmine Falcone,
another great comic book character.
Just running Gotham. He has every single he has judges, he has cops, he has everything.
He's the sleazy mob boss of Gotham.
To the point where he can shoot someone in broad daylight and
listen, man, Wilkinson in that scene when Christian Bale shows up and tries to call him out, when he pulls out the gun.
You're taller than you look in the tabloids, Mr. Wayne. No gun. I'm insulted. You could have just sent a thank you note.
I didn't come here to thank you. I came here to show you that not everyone at Gotham's afraid of you.
Only those who know me, kid. Look around you. You'll see 2 councilmen, a union official, a couple off-duty cops, and a judge. Now, I wouldn't have a second's hesitation in blowing your head off right here and right now in front of them. Now, that's power you can't buy. That's the power of fear.
I'm not afraid of you.
Because you think you got nothing to lose. But you haven't thought it through.
Oh my, come on.
Yeah, Wilkinson kills it.
He kills it. He's one of my faves, man. I love Wilkinson. But yeah, you're getting the full picture here that Gotham is run by this mob boss. Bruce is training with this terrorist who wants to take down Gotham because of the corruption itself. Of course, we did glaze over the death of his parents, which is at this point,
so many times.
It's been beaten to death every time.
I definitely want to touch on this because everyone knows Batman and Nolan's working with Batman because Nolan knows everyone knows Batman. He kind of, you get thrust right into it. This is
the best depiction of the Waynes being killed, I think. Period.
Well, I was going to say he makes it a point to almost showcase, because we know that character, he makes Gotham its own character.
Oh, and for sure.
I think this is the best.
This is the best Gotham has ever looked. In a movie.
You feel Gotham when the small detail when Rachel pulls off the road and she goes down into the streets, the alleys. I was like, you felt Gotham, So even though Bruce, pretty much everyone knows Batman, whatnot, he took the time to get you to make you feel Gotham, and I think that was very important, especially in an origin movie, because you're not just introducing everyone to Batman. And just
the whole world.
You're into it's an origin for everything. So I appreciate the time that he took to do that.
This isn't like a reboot, or it is a reboot. It's not like a soft reboot like how Batman Forever was, where it's like, same characters, same world, different take, but whatever. Like he's like, nope, I'm gonna treat this like it's step one. We're gonna really flesh out the world. All these shots are gonna be like so grimy, and there's going to be smoke coming from every sewer. The cinematography on this movie, like all the lighting is just brown. Like Gotham is so well felt in this movie.
Oh my gosh, I can't. Yeah, I love that. A couple of shots, because Nolan always has the beautiful cinematography. He always has beautiful shots. I sent you one photo where it's just Bruce, scruffy Bruce before he's well in the beginning, and just the shot of him. I'm like, that looks like a badass young Batman before Batman.
He really does, yeah.
Another one I got to talk about is obviously the first showdown between him and Scarecrow.
Okay, we're jumping ahead a little bit, but yes.
Okay, let's dial it back down.
No, I'm cool. Like, the thing is, this movie kind of does jump around. It starts to get more linear in the second half of the movie where the plot actually kicks in.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of just, because I set it up talking about Batman versus Scarecrow because I just like the setting battles up like that. Yeah. But in particular, when Batman's climbing up, I want to talk about the visual of him climbing up that building in the rain.
Yeah.
Oh, when he just investigating, doing his Batman thing, investigating the case.
Yeah.
It's a gorgeous shot of him and it's like a half a second and it's just, I'm so glad there's
just so much care. Like, that's the thing I keep coming back to, is like, it seems like Nolan really made this movie with like a lot of care and like love for the character.
He wanted to make a good movie.
And he sure shit did. This movie rules. So we're introduced to Carmine Falcone and Ra's al Ghul. We're slowly getting reintroduced to Rachel, who's now being played by Katie Holmes, and Michael Caine is showing back up as Alfred. Rutger Hauer is now running Wayne Industries. I don't know.
Enterprises.
Yeah, and Bruce is showing back up in Gotham, saying like, "Hey, I'm not dead." There's that really that first scene where he puts on the Bruce Wayne mask, where he walks into the office and the woman says, "What's your name?" And he says, "Bruce Wayne." And Rutger Hauer, it goes into the meeting shot of Rutger Hauer. He keeps calling for the assistant, and then he opens the door. Like, why is no one answering the phone? And Bruce has got his arms around her, teaching her how to putt.
That's Bruce Wayne, baby.
It's so Bruce Wayne. He's got the hair slicked back, and he says, "It's Wayne Enterprises, Mister. I'm sure somebody will call you back." And like, it's so
he nailed that Bruce right there.
Yeah. That's part of that's the DNA of the character, is he's got that dichotomy of.
It takes me back to. Well, I don't want to get into that. I was going to say how amazing the original Christopher Reeve was as Clark Kent.
Oh, he's so good in that movie.
Pardon me, Lois.
The bumbling,
immaculate Clark. So as much as everyone wants to say, it's a superhero, so you got to nail two roles. It's two different sides of a character.
Yeah.
So so whenever I think of a Batman movie like this, I have to see that Bruce, and I got to see that Batman. And
I don't think that this trilogy really fully dives into that. I think like they do a lot in this movie and like a little bit in the others, but not much, which is fine if that's not the angle no one wanted to go with. That's fine.
No, I think this is the most Brucey you'll see
in this movie.
Yeah,
I agree. Yeah, he kind of loses track of it, which is kind of what the third movie is about when we get to that. But like, so Bruce comes back and he hooks up with my man Morgan Freeman playing Lucius Fox.
Love it.
And this is when the movie just starts having so much fucking fun, because he's saying, "I need the suit for spelunking," and he's obviously lying through his teeth. He's getting all this cool gear.
The way I see it, it's already yours.
It's so good, right? Like,
he kills it.
He's so fucking funny. In this movie.
Something about Morgan Freeman and Michael Caine's little side smiles they do.
They're great. I just watched this with my girlfriend who had never seen this before, and she was cracking up every time Caine or Freeman had a little quip, like just laughing her ass off. I'm like, this is a good fucking funny movie. Yeah.
That's why Nolan went back to the well with those two.
I think that's a perfect segue into what I need to reveal, which is, this is my favorite of the three Nolan Batman movies.
Okay.
I know that everyone loves The Dark Knight. I love The Dark Knight too. I think that this movie is so unconcerned with anything else aside from just being like a great Batman movie. Whereas The Dark Knight has a lot more on its shoulders. Like, the budget's so much bigger. It's dealing with all these huge set pieces. It's essentially Nolan doing a remake of Heat. It's got all this other stuff going on. And Batman Begins is just this fun thing. And like, every now and then it's like, oh, right, this is a comic book movie. Gary Oldman comes around the corner. He's like, oh, I got to get me one of those. Like, there's these, it's still silly. Like, this movie's still kind of goofy. Whereas I think he gets bogged down with a little bit more seriousness in the other two movies. But that's just my hot take. I think this movie's fucking perfect. So he's got all the gear. How do you feel about, like, there's so many fun little vignettes in this part of the movie. Him with the electric cape, him with the tumbler, with him and Morgan Freeman trying the tumbler out.
Just going through having him learning everything, him buying everything, him assembling all of it. I love that. Is so vital to Batman. Like, I just loved that they took the time to show me.
He spends a lot of time here.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
As he should, because there's it would never make sense for just a random guy, even how rich he is, so you need to have that time spent on showing the tech.
It's really procedural, the way that he builds to the actual image of Batman for the first time. We really don't see him for, I don't know, like an hour of the movie or something like that. And by the time, I think
the first full shot is him on the gargoyle.
the first like clear full shot is him pulling Wilkinson out of the car.
Oh, on top of the.
It's Batman. If he didn't do all that work beforehand with him trying out all these new toys from R&D, with him going to Gordon with that ski mask on and like jumping over the fucking fire escapes and like fucking his whole body up. All these little things that he builds up to. If he didn't do any of that, and we just started with that scene of him taking down the goons and pulling Carmine Falcone out and going, I'm Batman. Like, people would laugh at this movie. Like, it would be completely ludicrous. But because he's built all that trust up and all of that like work is being shown on the screen, by the time that happens, you're just like, yeah, all right, like he's here, and
and not only that, but let's talk about that scene in particular.
Yeah, let's do it.
That I will say, because I do prefer, this is my 3 out of 3.
Wow.
I'm sorry. I just really like the other 2.
They're good. They're all good, man.
There is something in this movie that is probably the best of the trilogy, is the very first time Batman's in action and he's making everyone, like I already mentioned, terrified. You see brief glimpses. He's pulling people into the darkness.
Yep.
People, oh man,
so the whole plot of this movie is essentially Ra's al Ghul comes back. He's working with the Scarecrow to poison Gotham's water supply, and then he's going to vaporize the water so that everyone goes crazy and tears the city apart, right? And Falcone is essentially working as a pusher through the Scarecrow. So this first like Batman, the actual Batman in the suit set piece, is him staking out this drug. Whatever, they're just kind of like transporting the drugs, right?
Just another shipment.
Yeah,
just Tuesday night.
Falcone's on site, and all of these gangsters are sort of patrolling. And it is the very first like beat of action is you see a guy standing in front of an open storage container. The inside of the storage container is all shadow. He has his back to it, and then he is gone. He just disappears because he just pulls him right in there. Yeah. And from that moment on, it's just beat after beat of him quickly swinging between storage containers and like swooping up guys.
That's what everyone they wanted to see, like that level of badass Batman, and Nolan gave it to the people, just getting yanked, or even later the next action set after that when he's pulled the guy literally up into he does it in that scene too, but up into the darkness. People are just getting pulled into blackness.
Yeah. It's good. Man. It's good stuff. And one of the best little beats in that whole sequence is the guy with the little Uzi, and he's like, "Where are you?" And then he backs up, and the blocking is so good because as soon as he backs up, the camera moves, and you see upside down Batman go, "I'm here," and he just fucking it's so good. Cut to black. It's so good.
You just hear him scream,
and that's the arrival. Yeah, you do. He goes, "Oh, yeah," but that's the arrival of Batman in Gotham. From there on out, he becomes this sort of myth that the criminals and the cops are starting to hear about, and he starts working more closely with Gordon. Gary Oldman is so goddamn good in this role, and
he's one of the best of all time.
Come on. The thing about Oldman is usually he shows up on screen and I'm like, all right, what's this fucking guy gonna do? Because he's a very big actor. I'm thinking of fucking The Fifth Element and Leon the Professional. He does these huge choices, and in this movie he's just like a very decent man, and I think he's so good in that role.
He can do no wrong.
No, he really can't. I think he's got a little bit less to do in this movie than he does in the others. I think he is flawless in The Dark Knight. He's got so much more to do in The Dark Knight. He's so fucking good in it.
Here he's sergeant. He's not even commissioner.
He's not even. Yeah, he's not even lieutenant. He doesn't become commissioner until halfway through the second movie.
Yeah, The Dark Knight.
Yeah. So there's I guess we can get to the Scarecrow scene now. We can really dive into that.
Well, let's talk about Scarecrow.
Yeah, go ahead.
Killian or Cillian?
Yeah, I'm one of those.
Okay, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's collaborated with Nolan a couple times now.
This is his first.
Well, because it's.
Oh, you're talking about up to this point. Yeah. He's in a lot of his movies. Yeah.
Yeah. Scarecrow, badass villain. I've always liked Scarecrow. I think he played him kind of freaking like.
I think this is the best you could hope for.
Yeah, I feel like he did a good job playing Scarecrow. Kind of, he's not that he gets taken down by a taser to the face.
Oh, it's great. He's given this. I like that whole end sequence where the fog is everywhere, everything's shrouded in this gas, and he shows up on the horse, and he's just giving the most corny villain monologue ever. Talking like, oh, the fear is gonna take over. Whatever. It's so cheesy, and she just shoots him in the face with a taser, and he's like, oh, and like rides off into the smoke. It's good stuff
because Scarecrow is that weak. Like,
exactly.
That's
I like
accurate.
Scarecrow. I like Scarecrow a lot. It like, especially in comics, you can do these really like hypnotic kind of psychedelic, fear sequences.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, he is like a scrawny psychologist, in like a fucking burlap sack. So I love that the movie treats him like pretty fairly at the end.
She
like,
shot Batman with that same taser and it did nothing.
He didn't give a fuck.
I love it.
It's great.
They nailed the suit too. I mean, I know the thing with the neck.
I kind of like it,
but I'm okay with it because he looked badass.
So, do you want to talk about Batman suits?
Are you're gonna say the Batflick one is the best?
No, I don't know. I think this one might be my favorite
because it's the Batflick one is really good.
The Batflick one is really good. I just think, I don't know, like there's so much wrong with those movies that like I don't really ever consider them, even the good parts of them. I'm like, yeah, they did that, I guess. I think
the best Batman fighting is in that one. Just for that little scene.
Yeah, I guess that first scene's it's a good fight scene. Yeah, there's some decent stuff in Batman vs Superman, I guess, but
that's another day.
No, it's not. We're not. No, it won't be. We will not be we're not covering the films of Zack Snyder. We'll not do it.
Oh, 300.
Sucker Punch. Guardians of Ga'Hoole or whatever. Legends of the Guardians of Owls of Ga'Hoole. What a piece of shit. Yeah. I can't believe Warner Bros. Keeps giving him money to do shit. Oh my God. So yeah, but I think there's just been so many iconic Batman suits in all these movies, and they change pretty much movie to movie. I think this is kind of the ideal one for me. Like the neck thing aside, this is pretty great. Yeah, I like the Keaton one. I like the one after this. It just looks a little bit like it almost looks like fucking
military.
It looks like a weird blend of like military tech and like cyberpunk Japanese anime shit with like the weird like rings around the neck. But it's pretty sweet.
But the new one's gonna be pretty sweet with your boy.
Yeah, I mean the person standing inside the suit is Robert Pattinson, so of course it's gonna be great. Oh yeah, baby. So yeah, I mean that first I'm talking about the first Scarecrow sequence though, where he gets lit on fire.
Yeah, I love it.
That's good. And then when he
comes, that apartment is so cool. That set design in that apartment is such a badass slummy Gotham apartment.
They did such a good job like with the actual like set designs in this down to the minutia, because the very first couple scenes where you're seeing young Bruce ride around on the train with his dad, this beautiful train that he built for the city. And then you cut to later and Katie Holmes is sitting in the same train and it's just rust and graffiti and just scum. It looks so bad because the entire city is just completely rotted. It's such a good like little choice to just wipe it completely.
He spent time building the character of Gotham.
God, this movie looks good.
Yeah.
It's so good looking. But the second showdown with Scarecrow where he gives Scarecrow the poison and then he starts seeing Batman as like a fucking hell demon. It's like black ooze coming out of his mouth and shit.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Like that. And then later when when he's gliding above the people in the Narrows and they look up and he's got like glowing red eyes, Nolan just said, fuck it. This is a comic book movie. Like, here's some crazy imagery of like a bat demon. Why not? Which like, I think later movies don't do. They like, he gets more and more invested in like, okay, well, what if like cell phones could be used as sonar detectors and he could tap into the whole wireless network? I'm like, no. More bat demons, please. Like, give me more of that. That's what I'm talking about.
Well, we got that because of Scarecrow,
Yeah.
It's badass. Nolan took that character and it was like, oh, we can use this to really mess with the audience.
It's such a good image. That scene of him flying over the fucking Narrows as a demon is such a good image.
I remember when I saw that when it came out, I was like, oh, that's badass.
Yeah.
Like Batman, that's what villains would see if they're on this toxin.
Well, yeah,
like,
even without the toxin, it's just a really good way to like sum up like the people of Gotham at this point are like, is he a creature? Is he a person? They don't even know what it is. We don't know what Batman is.
That's true.
You know
It
what I
adds
mean?
to the mythos.
It really does. Yeah, I really like that.
Going forward, those people, though, anyone that has, I saw the demon too in the sky. You know,
he had
like
fire coming out of his mouth. Like,
and he saved us. You know,
yeah.
like
it's so good. Yeah, I mean, the end sequence is essentially this microwave emitter is turning all of. I gotta say, I fucking love that this movie is about a villain poisoning Gotham's water supply. That's the most like elemental, like 1938 plot ever.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, they poisoned the water supply. Like, it's so like OG comic book.
Yeah.
You know, obviously Nolan's putting a pretty futuristic spin on it with this cool like desert warfare thing.
Right. The tech.
Yeah, but it's still just about like, you know, oh no, they poisoned the water supply and now they're going to turn it into fear gas or whatever. It's great.
Dun, 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 dun.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's this really great image of they put this device on the train and it's running throughout the city. And every time the train passes through a scene, like the sewers erupt and like vapor comes out. It's such
Just
a cool. It's so good. And like water is just coming out of every conceal. And then, you know, Ra's al Ghul shows up at the end and reveals himself to be the Grand Master of all of this. And they have like a little fight on a train. And that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows Batman is against killing, and that final little line that he says to Ra's al Ghul,
I don't have to save you.
I don't have to save you.
Yeah,
that's kind of an epic send off, and Bill, hopefully he doesn't take that too much to heart, you know, because he's letting villains die pretty much, right?
I mean, I wish he would do that with the Joker. I mean, Jesus Christ,
how many times are you gonna save the Joker?
Fucking Christ, but. Yeah, I mean, the morality of Batman is like a fucking tangled mess, obviously. Like, it's like, he could have killed him and a lot more people would be alive who don't deserve to be dead, but whatever. I think that, like, killing Ra's al Ghul, so in the comics, Ra's al Ghul is immortal. He can be resurrected through this, like, cool
Lazarus pit.
Killing him
I'm glad that Nolan didn't include that. Because then you're going supernatural.
I know. I don't know how I feel about it, though, because, like, that's like the whole. I mean, he kind of pulls it back in the Dark Knight Rises a little bit, but it's still not. I don't know. It's his whole thing, right? Yeah, he's immortal. He can live forever. I think that'd be. I don't know. I don't know how he would have pulled it off, but it was a little bit of like okay. I guess Ra's al Ghul's not that cool in these movies. Whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I get it, but he had to do it. I feel like he cut the supernatural-ish, magic, mystical, whatever. Focused on the tech, more of the practical.
Yeah, I mean, that's his whole take on the character. His whole take on the entire property is like, what if this stuff could be applied to like real world shit?
Right.
You know, like Bane.
And I like that. Yeah,
Bane isn't like some like supercharged monstrosity. He's just like a big bulky guy who has to use this gas to live. Like it's so much more, I don't know, grounded, which I think a lot of people took the wrong lessons from his movies and like made some pretty shitty choices in other movies, but that's fine. That happens, I guess, when a movie.
Are you talking about later ones in this franchise?
No, not this franchise at all.
Oh, okay.
I think if you just take the Nolan movies by themselves, 1, 2, 3.
No, not in this franchise. You're talking about later.
Yeah, like the fact that WB was like, Zack Snyder, go ahead and just run wild with your nonsense, and he's like, I'm gonna make it so that like fucking Batman like burns people's chests, and like it's like, all right, dude, like you fucking, he's such a sadist. I can't stand him. Ugh. But
so we're against the Bat brand.
Yeah, I just his whole take on everything is just like, what if Batman's parents were raped? It's like, what are you talking? Like, I just get. I feel like that's his vibe. It's just like everything has to be the most edgy and like dark and twisted possible. Like, there's no fun in his movies. He doesn't have any fun.
No, I mean, there's just. I feel like like Batman Begins was geared a little darker. And Zack Snyder was, you like dark, huh?
Yeah, like let me just ruin everything. Like
then let's keep turning it down, and it's just the light can be a little bright, at least in parts.
Superman like never smiles in his movies. It's depressing. It's so depressing.
Give me bright, bubbling Clark Kent.
You know, I mean, Listen, if I my dream superhero movie or Superman movie would just be a whole movie where Clark is helping his parents on the farm. Like, just let me do like a coming of age, like 18-year-old Clark Kent on the farm being a nice boy. That's what we need. We need to like
well, I
course
saw
correct.
that's Smallville.
Yeah, there's stuff in Smallville that I like though. That's the thing, is like that stuff in Smallville works.
No, I actually really like Tom Welling's.
He's good. Yeah.
He's
good.
So.
Henry Cavill would be so good if they gave him the right material. I
think he had 14 lines as Clark Kent in Batman vs Superman.
What's the point? Why are you even doing this? You know what I mean? Right.
It's not. Oh, well, God. He missed the memo about the dual personality character. He
missed the memo about superhero being a symbol of actual hope, but whatever. Let's get back onto Batman Begins, a movie that I like a lot and does all of the things that Zack Snyder does wrong correctly. There is darkness in this movie, but there's also fun to be had. There's a lot of good fucking jokes. There's a lot of good. We didn't even talk about the Tumbler.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean, this is another radical take on an old classic. The
Batmobile.
Yeah, we're used to seeing it a certain way. There's usually slight differences, usually some fin action in there.
It's usually this kind of long, narrow, stylish looking thing. And Nolan's like, no, this thing's just going to look like a fucking tank.
Nolan's like, well, there are none of those in real life, so let's give him a tank.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that the whole chase sequence at the end is maybe my favorite action scene in the whole movie. Where he's jumping over on all the fucking the rooftops. He's going into stealth mode and like blowing through walls and stuff. And the thing that makes this scene so fun is every time it cuts away to a police officer and he's driving a black tank, and the laugh lines are so good in this. It works so well.
Yeah, that's Batman's first attempt to elude the police because they're under the impression there's a crazy guy running around here in a mask,
right?
Wreaking, they consider him a criminal and they're trying to bring him in.
Classic Batman stuff.
He's got to get back because he's trying to save Rachel.
Yep, she's dying of poison. So
he's got to get back. So he's blowing through every traffic law. Doesn't matter. And you see his tech in action pretty much for the first time against cops, and you see these cops' minds just getting blown.
It's so good,
and it's really good.
He's not on a street; he's flying on rooftops.
it just makes you feel like Batman is a badass. A lot of this movie is devoted to Batman being a badass
and fun. I mean, Batman has a couple of good jokes in this movie. Like when he beats all those guys up and he looks at the homeless guy and he goes, "Nice coat."
Nice coat.
Like, that's great. Like, there's some good, like, Batman's even having fun in this movie, which I think people have lost the thread on that as well.
By the way, that coat was 7 years old.
Yeah. I mean, hey, when you're living on the streets, you gotta take care of your stuff.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm sure that coat held up nicely. It's probably really high quality stuff.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Fun little cameo. Don't know if you noticed this, but our friend Jeremy Theobald from Following was in this movie. Did you catch him?
Oh, wait a minute.
I think he's in this movie. I think he has one line.
Is he a cop?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Then he was
in
that scene that Batman beats up Falcone?
Nope.
Okay, then
nope.
I didn't see him.
He is one of the two people in the water control room when all of the they cut to that like computer image. He's not the old guy, he's the other guy. He has like one line. He's like, "Oh, the pressure's spiking." And I'm like, that's the guy from Following.
Oh, see, I guess I was just too drawn to that old guy because every time
charisma coming out of his ears, that guy.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a fun little. I guess he shows up in Tenet too, so I'm gonna keep my eye open for him in Tenet whenever we get back to that one.
Yeah.
Man, we talked about so much, and I feel like I'm gonna have so much more to say, like going forward. With the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. I mean, comic books are such a huge staple in my life, and like now they've become like the mainstream.
Everything.
They're everything now. So there's just so much to dive into with them.
I mean, I guess we can, since we are going to be talking about the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Rises, we can. That's if you want to shine a little more, because a little more on this movie, what works in this one that doesn't in the others. Like I was talking about, like the fact that Nolan makes Batman known to be scaring his criminals, his victims.
Yes. Yeah.
he doesn't do that in the other ones. Maybe because Joker is maniacal, off the chain dog, and
Maybe
Bane is just this titanic force.
Bane fucking rules. I can't wait to talk about Bane.
Yeah,
I cannot wait.
I'm gonna be doing the voice.
I cannot wait to hear the voice. It's been a long time, buddy. I think one of the main, I mean, I mentioned this, I think his voice works, the Batman growl voice works best in this movie. He only does it really in one scene where he ties up Flass and is screaming, where are the drugs going? But he's, the thing that works about it is before he screams, the camera cuts to a close-up of Batman, and you can see him like taking this huge breath before he yells. So you can like see him like building the rage of the growl. Whereas in the other movie, he's just like, I'm not wearing hockey pants. Like, he's just kind of like doing this voice instead of it like exploding out of him to be scary.
Yeah.
I think it works best in this movie.
Yeah, I think it kind of gets, I think it's the loudest and the grumbliest in this film. And each progressive movie, he dials it down a little bit.
I think it just sounds kind of like, there's a story that Bale said when he auditioned for this movie, he did that voice. And he went back and he did the voice for his wife and said, this is the voice I did. And she's like, well, you're not getting that fucking job. Like, why did you do that voice? And obviously that's one of the things that like is so iconic about this version of the character is that Rachel,
Yeah.
And I think that it works so much better in this movie, like I said, because it's explosive and scary. Whereas in The Dark Knight, he's just, that's his voice that he uses. Like when he talks to Rachel as Batman in this movie, he just changes his voice. He doesn't do the growl. He just has like a little bit of a lower voice that he uses. He's not talking to Rachel like, you've got poison in your veins. Like he's just like talking to her and he's disguising his voice. Whereas in the other movies, he's fucking talking to Alfred on the cell phone about groceries. And he's like, I'm getting lettuce. Like, all right, like, can you just calm down, dude? It's not fun anymore. It felt special when he did it in this movie. In the other two movies, it just feels,
Well, it's definitely patented Bale at this point.
It's definitely, you can't, Pattinson can't do that because then it's just going to be stealing. Like, I don't know what Pattinson's going to do, but he can't do that.
Yeah. They did the voice changer. They
had a voice changer, which was kind of a cool idea,
Yeah.
I think it worked a little bit. Man, it's such a shame because Ben Affleck looks like such a fucking Bruce Wayne. They could have done such a goddamn cool thing with him.
I didn't realize he's my height. He's 6'4".
He's a big guy. Yeah,
I didn't realize that. Pretty big.
Yeah, he was fucking massive in those movies. Like he bulked way up. I don't know. Is there anything else that you think works better in this movie than in other movies?
Well, I mean, again, they're different movies, but it could be like we just mentioned that Batman has other things to deal with in the other movies. This one was kind of just about Batman. Yeah. So it was able to show off his badassery more than the others.
I think much like Batman Returns, the sequel to Batman, The Dark Knight, which is the sequel to this, focuses more on the villain. Batman Returns is essentially a Catwoman movie that Batman is in. And The Dark Knight is kind of a Joker movie that Batman is in. You know what I mean? So you do kind of, Batman almost gets like second shrift in those movies. I think the other thing that I just love about this movie compared to the others, I think Gotham just has so much more character in this movie.
I'd agree.
I think Gotham in The Dark Knight and in The Dark Knight Rises looks great. It's a lot more clear and like
it's just
clean.
Not a focus.
It looks like Chicago because that's where they shot. You know what I mean? It looks great because fucking.
I thought it was Pittsburgh.
Oh, I think Pittsburgh was The Dark Knight Rises.
Okay.
And then Chicago was in.
Because everyone's wearing yellow and black for the sports team.
Yeah. They did. I don't know where they shot this one at, but probably Chicago. But yeah, I think Gotham just is like it. Like you can feel the corruption like seeping through the cracks of the sidewalk in this movie. It's so dark and like.
That's my biggest takeaway from being able to come back all these years later, because it's been a few years and watch this. And yeah, the whole first hour and a half, not hour and a half, but the whole first hour, a bulk of the time was spent developing and exploring Gotham as a character, and it worked.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, from the very, very beginning, kind of prequel status, or to the prequel scenes with young Bruce, where it's kind of a nice-ish city that's kind of on the rise. Then you go forward, and it's just like everything is crumbled. That progression is great. You know, there's a little bit of a time leap, I believe, between this and the Dark Knight, where like the Dark Knight, it just looks like a nice city again.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that cool ninja scene.
Oh, that scene rules.
Yeah.
I was like pumping my fist at that scene.
Yeah, that scene is awesome. They're blending in like.
Yeah, because he's the whole thesis of that scene is like he has to find out which one is Ra's al Ghul without letting Ra's al Ghul know which one is him. They're all dressed the same, and there's a brief, they have a brief exchange where Ra's al Ghul cuts his arm. So he's like, well, shit, he can see that I have a cut on my arm. So he cuts a couple of the other guy's arms to like blend in. And then he catches them off guard. It's so good. That's some good shit. That's some good ninja stuff right there.
A ninja / detective, his thinking. It's the little things like that's another thing that I always, it's not big or it's just a small gripe, but he's the world's greatest detective.
Supposed to be, right.
I want to see, and you do see him doing a little bit in that with that, but mainly it's like, especially in the Dark Knight, when he's using the sonar and tech and that, it's a little more, but I never really get the sense that
I haven't really seen any movie where he's done like the detective work
until this year. I'm hoping.
It seems like Matt Reeves has said like this is going to be a detective movie, and it looks like Seven. It looks like a serial killer movie.
I read that too. I can cross my fingers. I haven't seen it yet.
We'll see.
But that kind of thinking on his feet, the scene is cool on its own, just for the ninja stuff.
It's so good.
But the bonus of him having that breakthrough and like doing that little detective, put it over the top for me.
I just love every time he cuts the other guy's arms and then he catches Ra's al Ghul because of it. I'm like, yeah, I just get so excited.
Yeah. It just shows you, and like Ra's al Ghul later in the movie says, "You were my best student," and it's just the whole thing is building Batman and building this character. And that money shot of him like perched on the gargoyle in full cape and the longest cape. It's Hans Zimmer score sets in and it's just
this is the first Zimmer score.
First Zimmer.
It's so good.
The bass and
man. I think his score for The Dark Knight is like just legendary. But I might just be speaking like because I just watched it. Is this the best superhero origin movie?
Yeah.
You think? Oh, you're just going, yes, absolutely. What are some other like great ones?
Well, because when I was thinking about this earlier, a lot of origin stories usually rely on some plot device. This movie fully explores him gaining his ability, gaining all his tools and whatnot.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of them are just like something happens, 30 minutes. Oh, boom! It's there. And that's why it works so well because Batman needs this to be developed.
Yeah.
I guess you can say in 2008 because you do see a lot of the tech building with Iron Man.
I was gonna say Iron Man is the only other one that kind of really comes to mind, where you see him actually having to use his ability, his brain,
and he's testing out the suit, like legs, learning how to fly.
That stuff's really good.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe maybe Favreau watched this movie and was like, "Ooh, I got to put some procedure in mind."
I wouldn't doubt it. Favreau's got that brain.
Yeah. That's good. That's good stuff.
But they, Marvel, they bet the bank on because Robert Downey Jr. was dead too. He was dead. He was coming out of rehab. All the drugs.
That movie did the
They bet remarkable. All on black.
That movie's
or green, I should say.
That movie's so quaint at Iron Man because it's just like. Yeah, he gets an Iron Man suit and he fights Jeff Bridges. Like that's the end of the fucking movie, and it's so small and like low stakes compared to all of their movies now, which are like, oh no, there's a portal opening in the sky. Quick, we have to get the Gwyngar pulsar box to save the. It's just like all this crazy shit, and like I don't know, it's crazy that in 2008, Jon Favreau was like, I know how to save Marvel movies. Let me hire Robert Downey Jr. fresh out of rehab. A 40-year-old man to play this leading superhero role, and like it worked like gangbusters. It's crazy.
Kind of makes you wonder because this is just 3 years earlier, and everyone critical smash.
Yeah,
so Iron Man. You said Iron Man was 2008, and Dark Knight was 2008.
Yeah, I mean that's such a huge year. Yeah,
it makes sense that a few years earlier, Favreau just saw the formula and he said, I'll make it. Kind of replicated it. But even that Iron Man, it's just Ironmonger. It Bridges' character. it's more.
Yes.
It's kind of what the Marvel cookie cutter outline has
it's not
become.
It's not nearly as like.
You got 3 villains here, baby. You got Falcone, you got Scarecrow,
Well,
you got Ra's al Ghul.
You also have 3 villains in Spider-Man 3. That's not always a good thing, but he does pull it off in this one.
How dare you mention these 2 movies in the same breath?
Hey, you know what? If we ever do Sam Raimi, which I think we should,
emo Peter.
Emo Peter, yeah. But I think Thomas Hayden, what is it? Thomas Hayden Church, who plays
Sandman.
I think he's kind of unbelievably good in that movie.
I love. He's good in everything.
He's great. Okay, good. I think he's so good in that movie. Okay, well, I think we've kind of talked enough about the plot of this movie and everything we love about this movie. And
so, to answer your question, yes, this is the greatest origin movie for superheroes.
It's so it like doesn't feel rushed. It doesn't feel like, oh, we got to get to the superhero stuff. Like he just kind of naturally lets everything unfold, and it's works.
A movie. It's a movie first.
Yeah,
Batman second.
Yeah, because like you go like a couple years ago and Doctor Strange comes out and it's like, yeah, this guy's like an asshole. All right, he's in a car accident and okay, now he can control like the reality. Like, okay, sure, like you have to do this.
Captain Marvel. So a battery blows up.
Right, exactly.
And now can fly through spaceships.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
They just get so lazy with all the origin. Like, there's no character anymore. It's just like,
well, right. Maybe if it wasn't just a battery blowing up, they could dive into more, but that's just how the character was written.
Captain Marvel is a weird movie, man. It's a weird movie. Anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know, made $1 billion, so I guess it doesn't matter what they do at this point. They're just going to keep winning.
Well, they also happen to place that after Infinity War, too.
Yeah.
The timing helped that one out a little.
I guess you're right. Let's not talk about the MCU anymore. All right, so let's give our ratings on this movie. I want you to go first. What do you rate this movie? Out of 5, let's go out of 5 stars, just because that's how I do it.
Yeah. Well, I got that here too.
Oh, okay.
I got them both. Yeah. This being the greatest superhero origin movie ever made, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
This is a 5 out of 5 star, perfect masterpiece for me. I love every fucking drop of this movie. So, yeah.
Well, it translates to my letter scale an A+. So,
what's a 5? What is that? Is it an
S plus?
An S plus superior grade.
Just super.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
And I think this movie, when I think of this movie, I'm like, damn, this is an A+. Like this is.
It's so good. Every time I watch it, I'm like, I'm sure it's going to be kind of corny and like whatever, but like just watch it now and like, nope, it all works so well together. Like even the corny stuff, even Gordon saying, I got to get me one of those. Like it just fits right into the movie. No problem.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great movie, man. Great movie. Loved it.
I love Batman Begins. So happy to be here. All right. You ready for the game? We're going to play it.
All right, let's do it.
So this game, I'm going to let Brent know the genres that this movie has been categorized under, and he is going to have to try to guess the top 5 grossing movies in that genre. This one has a lot of genres.
Okay, let's hear them.
All right, I'm going to skip 2 of them because we've done them already.
Interesting.
All right. So here's what we got. Adventure, supernatural, IMAX, comic book adaptation, superhero, origin story, or prequel.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
Oh man.
I don't know why you would. I mean, I guess it's not a prequel, is it?
No, that's a little. Just because it has Bruce's parents dying, they just.
Yeah.
All right. I guess let's try IMAX.
IMAX. Okay. Let's see here. It's probably going to be just as depressing as last week. Let's find out. Yup. All right. There's some stuff in here. Okay. So Batman Begins is not in the top 5 of the top 5 grossing movies categorized under IMAX.
Okay, well, I'm going to guess Endgame is?
Endgame is number 2.
Avatar's
number 3, yes. I'm not even giving you hints. This is great. Okay.
Infinity War.
Infinity War is number 5. So you have to guess number 1 and number 4.
Oh, for IMAX.
Now I want to remind you, this is domestic gross. This is not worldwide.
Okay.
Avengers is the highest grossing film worldwide. It is not the highest grossing film domestic. And number 1, I believe, is.
Number 1 for this list?
Well, number 1, period.
Oh, okay.
I'm pretty sure. I could be. No, I think this is the number 1, like, domestic grosser worldwide, or domestic gross.
Let's try The Force Awakens.
Number one.
Okay.
Nailed it. Force Awakens.
So we need-
$936 million domestic.
That weekend was nuts.
That weekend was so crazy, dude.
It just kept going up and up and up.
That was so exciting. All right, so you got to guess number 4, which is a movie that you have guessed, I think, on the last episode. I mean, you've already guessed this movie once.
Okay. The original Avengers?
Nope. You're in the right ballpark, though.
Civil War?
Nope. Made more money than that.
Black Panther?
Black Panther.
Wow.
Yeah, Black Panther's the second highest grossing Marvel movie.
Wow.
It made more domestic than Infinity War.
Huh.
Yeah.
I thought Captain Marvel blew out some, maybe it was like weak or something.
It might have been, yeah, but like as it stands right now, Avengers is number 1, or Endgame is number 1, Black Panther is number 2.
Wow.
This is so depressing. It's depressing because when I pull up these lists, it gives me like the title, the lifetime gross, how much it made opening weekend, and then all the way on the right it tells me the distributor, and it's literally just Walt Disney. Like they fucking own everything.
Yeah, I know.
It's a monopoly.
It really is. I told my cousin back when it was $93 a share to buy, and now it's like at $178. And I got all those tests or all those messages and all the my reasoning behind it. This is right when I think it was like 2011.
Yeah.
And they just bought they just got Marvel at that point. They just bought Star Wars, and
I think they bought Star Wars in 2013, but yeah.
Or maybe that's when.
Yeah.
But I was like, I knew they weren't going to slow down. But
this list is so depressing.
They own the world.
Oh well, what are you gonna do? They really do. Someone needs to stop them. They must be stopped.
How?
I don't know.
I was thinking about giving them more when getting Disney Plus.
I've got Disney Plus. Comes in handy.
I really want to see WandaVision. Yeah. I've been putting it off, and I've been
waiting.
You
still haven't watched it?
I want the series to be done so I can binge it.
No.
I'm a binger now.
You're a weirdo.
Yeah.
Does it feel good to have that week in between to be like, oh, what's coming next? I don't know. You get all this time to talk about it.
No,
I need it all right now. I need it
right
all
now.
I need it
Give it to my veins.
Right I want no mystery.
Yeah.
Oh God, that's funny. All right. Well, we got one little segment that we always close out with, which is what movies we're looking forward to seeing. Whether they're coming out in a year and a half or whether we're going to watch them tomorrow. What do you got? What do you got coming up?
Well, I don't think we've mentioned it yet on the show, and I think this is definitely worthy, if not, one we should be making a bigger deal about it. But Dune's.
I think they pushed it all the way back to next December.
Oh,
or this December, I guess technically. Yeah, they did a whole year push.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Timothée Chalamet is he's the chosen one. He's
fucking absolutely. This guy, I love this guy.
Yeah, he's incredible. I'm a big fan of his. So, and me and you both are super fans of Oscar Isaac.
Oh, God, I can't tell you how much I love Oscar Isaac. The movie is just stacked. It's so fucking stacked. I don't know if I'm gonna. I don't know if Dune is a thing that I like. I watched the original David Lynch movie, which is like an exercise in like self-punishment to watch that movie.
Does he even claim that's his?
I mean, yes, but he also talks about how much he didn't like working within the studio system that way. And, that's not really like a David Lynch picture,
Okay.
I mean? Although there are some interesting visuals in that movie that only he could have really put on screen, I think. I don't know if Dune's a thing that I like, but that trailer looks, at the very least like an exciting sci-fi movie. And boy, I would love to see one of those in a theater.
Cinematography, it's me, I'm very anti-trailer.
Yeah.
Because I just, don't sell me the pony, let me milk it for free. You know what I'm saying?
What? You milk a pony?
No, I don't know.
What? Hold on. Wait a second. I think you got that wrong. Fuck.
But yeah, so one of my biggest things, and I try to
you like
through
to
my
avoid
fingers,
the trailer, right?
Yeah, but when I do see, I like, what I rather like than trailers? Screenshots.
Oh, okay, sure.
I would rather have screenshots because
Yeah.
I feel like that. What I try to get from trailers is the beauty of it.
Yeah.
From most films, and it looks beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of hot people in it. Like, just it looks like a big fun action movie with a lot of hot movie stars that I would like to see in theaters.
Yeah, sign me up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Have you seen anything that is exciting coming up, or
Well,
will be exciting for you?
yeah, I'm not gonna pick something new this time. In fact, I'm going way back. Last week I thought I had seen this movie before. There's no way I'd seen it. I watched Evil Dead for the first time.
Classic.
Yes. I totally thought I had seen this movie. If I had seen this movie, I would have remembered it because that movie's fucking wild.
You're talking about the original.
The original Evil Dead. Yes.
Oh yeah,
that movie is so crazy and like so specifically made for 14-year-old James. Like there's like a skeleton knife and like demons and shit. Like it's so fucking right up my alley. So I saw that and I was like, holy shit, I can't believe I haven't seen this. Another incredible origin movie, if you ask me. I'm really looking forward to seeing Evil Dead 2 because I've heard it's just better. I haven't seen Evil Dead 2 or Army of Darkness before.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I went through and I knocked out all 3 of those.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting into it because that first one blew my head away, dude. I was like, what?
I see. If you like the first one, the first one is definitely different from the rest.
That's what I mean. I know that the first one is like way more small scale. From what you don't need to tell me anything like right now, but I'm pretty sure from what I understand, the other ones are like about Ash fighting demons in hell, which like whatever, man. Of course I want to see that. Like that's the natural progression. Yes, he had to go through this terrible night where all these demons possessed his friends. I want to see him go fight Satan or whatever. I don't care. Like, let's do it. You know, if it goes big, if it goes bigger scale, that's the kind of thing I want to see. Yeah. So whatever the next one is, I'm excited to watch it.
I'm trying to think. One of them was the first one fairly comedic.
There's some. Not really.
I think it's the second one where
I know
it gets.
Yeah, I know that
comedic.
Ash gets to be a little bit more of like a smart mouth. You know, this movie, he's basically just like scared for his fucking life and trying to survive the night. It's great.
Yeah. So the first one was he's kind of like teenager 1, where the second one he's
like the hero.
Yeah, he becomes a hero. It's centered around him.
The first Evil Dead reminded me of Alien, the way that Ripley is not the main character of Alien until she is. Like in Alien, Ripley is a member of the what is it, the Nostromo or something like that.
The Nostromo. Yeah, I'm sorry, I haven't seen these movies as many times as you. It's all right. I'm playing No Man's Sky. I just named my ship that.
Fucking hype. No, but like she's like a member on that crew. And then, like, as the movie progresses, she just naturally emerges as the hero of the story, as Ash does in Evil Dead. I really like that. Yeah. It wasn't about him, but he was the survivor, and he became the main character.
I like that correlation. That fits.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, shit. That was a fucking exciting episode. And next week, we're not going back to Gotham. We're going to London or something to do some magic tricks.
Oh, The Prestige.
Yeah, baby. We're talking The Prestige.
Oh, can't wait.
Yeah.
Man.
Me too. All right. Well,
very excited about that.
Next week we'll be doing The Prestige, and well, I guess that's it for this week, huh?
Yeah. Any last comments? Batman.
No, this is just a 5-star perfect movie for me. I love it every time I watch it. It's like comfort food, and I wish someone would make a superhero movie with this much personality again.
It's definitely the best origin story of all time.
Good stuff. All right.
For superheroes. Origin story for superheroes.
Right. The actual best origin story of all time is obviously the Bible. Anyways, folks, next week we'll be talking The Prestige. My name is James.
I'm Brent.
All right. Thank you and amen.